Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Rosanne Hiller, a licensed therapist and mental health educator, and the voice behind Your Best Friend's Therapist, a platform that makes therapy concepts accessible, human, and actually applicable to real life. Through her work, Rosanne supports people who want to understand why they feel the way they feel, rather than whether that's anxiety, relationship patterns, burnout, or self-doubt. She bridges the gap between traditional therapy and modern life, balancing clinical experience, emotional insight, and relatable education that meets people where they are. Rosanne, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much, Olivia. That was a lovely introduction. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Beautiful. Good to hear it. We got one job right so far, and I'm very excited to dive in and learn more about your journey. So, Rosanne, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So, if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before we jumped into the therapy space, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Oh gosh, I have been a therapist, it feels like forever. So probably over 25 years. I've been licensed for over 20 and I have been seeing clients forever, ever. I love it. It is amazing. Before I jumped into the digital space, which is such a strange adventure for me, I was just doing one-on-one therapy. I still do. I have a private practice, a thriving private practice here in San Diego, and I see anything from adolescents through elderly people, lots and lots of couples, individuals of all shapes and sizes and issues and relationship issues. And before that, I was for about 17 years. I was a therapist in a very large hospital setting here in San Diego that really focused on kids and families. And so that put me out in schools, it put me in the homes. So did that for about 17 years and learned, oh gosh, so much about relationships. And then I hopped into about halfway through that into my private practice. And I've been doing that for about 14 years. And probably about 8 years ago, yeah, give or take, I did it right after my mom passed. I I let go of the 9 to 5 and I stepped into just my sole practice and
Oh,
love it. I haven't looked back since.
I love it. So we really found your purpose early on, which is very, very cool, and just obviously diving into that. You must have a lot of experience to draw from, as you say, working with teens into schools, using that for the relationships you use now. So what would you say, like at the moment, maybe because you do work with human beings in general, having a wide variety of people you can actually help and work with. But what would you say is that one typical challenge or issue people tend to come to you with at the start where you have to really kind of bounce between the lines and help them break through that?
I get a lot of people that are dealing with anxiety and depression. I
Yeah.
think during this age and time, it's such a catchphrase, oh, I've got anxiety or I'm depressed. But there are people that are actually really suffering from a clinical level of depression and anxiety. So I see that a lot. I see a lot of relationship issues, but a lot of the times the mental health issues tend to be exacerbating or sometimes even causing the relationship issues. So the relationship issues. But this other piece that I have been seeing since really I opened my private practice was this um, need for people to deal with a breakup. It's one of the biggest issues I see regularly. And I know it sounds a little weird, but I love working with people right off a breakup. It's such a wonderful opportunity to start getting at so many issues. So that's
Yeah.
really been my focus. Probably, I don't know, maybe the past like really 6 or 7 years.
post breakup is where we find it most interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. There's a lot of issues to tackle. Okay. So then who would you say at this point, because obviously having your own practice now for a long time, who would you say is like your ideal client? So who would you generally love to work with the most? And then from there, how is it you tend to help them and support them along that journey? Like what is that process like for you, Rosanne?
I get a lot of people in this space that are dealing with that. But my favorite to work with are not to say that men don't have these issues. Don't get me wrong. I have walked many a men through the process of a breakup, and it's heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking. But women in their, I guess, mid to late 20s and
Mm.
going into their early to mid 30s, I find are my ideal client because all the things that I work on and talk about are so applicable to them for so many reasons.
Yeah, it's my age group. That's obviously the demographic is myself. And I feel like it's a very pivotal time for and not just women, for men in general, this kind of limbo land, like especially when you are going through a breakup, because a lot of the time it's like the next partner is considered slightly serious just to, I suppose, societal pressures and everything that's going on when you're in that like late 30s, early 40s. Um, my question based off of that though is, do you feel like maybe because of this lots of societal pressures that are coming now from having corporate jobs, maybe from the back end of COVID, there's just a lot going on in the world that is maybe raising levels within people of that age group and more having to deal with certain issues with regards to like anxiety, burnout, maybe trauma from a breakup or coming into a new relationship, having to go through another one. Is that kind of all coming into play at the moment as you kind of see the field of therapy really growing and taking its spotlight at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of changes, especially since COVID in that area as people have had to shift in their careers, which puts people at this level of anxiety, which is anxiety is this not knowing what's going to happen. Right. It's this kind of this fear of the future. And so there's this feels like in at least in my practice, there's almost been like this buzz, this energy level of I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. There's the clock that's ticking, right? And there's this need to balance, career and as well as relationships in this changing environment socially, financially, politically. There's just a lot of stressors that are on people recently, that it's all just it's been very convoluted. So it's hard to pull out what is really the issue. Is it the relationship issue? Is it the anxiety issue? But as we kind of dig and pull those strings out, it just becomes clearer that it all comes back to the self and
Okay.
and there's this wanting, there's this needing to connect with the self. People don't know how to do that. They don't have a roadmap to do that.
And that's what we're there for. I suppose that's what we're there for, to
Absolutely.
provide that roadmap.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And obviously now we've moved into the digital era as well. You kind of mentioned yourself taking that step. So when it comes to like marketing and maybe finding those right kind of clients to work with, how do you go about doing that? So like what channels, what methods are you really finding most effective for yourself at the moment?
Well, that has been a huge learning leap for me. I am my generation. We didn't have all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's almost been like this second language that I've had to learn. And don't get me wrong, I am remedial to, at the best in that area. So I've had to teach myself and I had to grab hold of other people that have knowledge of it. I originally when I started my digital kind of piece, the marketing piece, the putting myself out there piece, that was huge and it's very uncomfortable. I did take and I would highly recommend anybody that is venturing down this path to take some sort of a course. I took a digital marketing course. I took do you want me to drop names?
If you want to, if it was well enough to
It
drop,
was
please.
so good. It was Amy Porterfield's
Nice. Okay.
her uh, digital course academy, and
Mm.
it taught me everything about what, not just creating courses, but about the digital field, about marketing, a little bit about everything, funnels. What the hell is a funnel, right? Of how do you do these things, and the steps to go through that, and the testing the market. It's been a
It's a
lot,
lot.
Olivia. So,
It
did
is
I
a
answer
lot.
your question? I'm so
You
sorry.
did. No, you did very well because it is a lot. And for a lot, especially when I talk to more therapists over, for example, be that agencies or whatever it may be, it is a big mindset shift to get your head around because it's such a different like ball game when it comes to talking about yourself and putting yourself in that vulnerable position. It's like, okay, I can help other people do the thing, but can I do this for myself now and really push and put that spotlight on me? Did you find that as a big challenge for yourself when you were starting
Oh,
out?
absolutely. Absolutely. That idea of being seen and putting
Yeah.
myself out there. Um, Us therapists, we are kind of looked at as kind of the a bit of a guru. What do I do? Which
So
we
true.
don't know. We don't know what you should do. We guide you to what you need to do, and it's all inside. And so that's how I see my job. But putting myself out there and letting my voice be seen, letting my face be seen, it's been huge, because I think as therapists as well, we are used to being in the background,
Yeah.
in this kind of this quiet voice back here that is the voice of reason, is really helpful, is guiding. But in doing this, it's it's kind of like opening up the therapy room for everyone to see. And that's been a huge taboo for therapists, when as we are learning how to be therapists. And so had to walk that line very carefully,
Mm.
in terms of, like, of confidentiality and just ethics and morals around therapy. And so that's been a really hard thing to kind of navigate through, being
Yeah.
a therapist in this realm.
I can imagine because half of the marketing thing is building that like know, like and trust factor, that how do we build that trust with a stranger, And if you can't share testimonials like a lot of people do, you can't share client success, it makes it quite a challenge on yourself because it does come down to confidentiality with therapy, it is a very much more of a sacred place. And you're right, people feel like therapists have all the answers. Like, oh, they're a therapist, they know what they're
Yeah.
doing. It's like a doctor, you have that kind of syndrome. Like, hey, you're a doctor, you know what you're doing. Like,
Yes.
but when it comes to social media, do you run any form of like paid advertisements or really like drive to push traffic, or is it more of like an organic approach from yourself?
So this past year, so I've been doing this, probably it's been the past 3 years I've been doing it, and I've been juggling it all by myself. And I
Yeah,
told you I have a full practice. I have a husband. I've got two dogs. I have got two 17-year-olds ready to start college. I've got a 21-year-old that is still needing support while he's away at college. And now
yeah,
I'm adding another business. And so I learned pretty quickly, that I couldn't do it all. And so this past year, I actually hired a digital, or excuse me, a social media manager. And
amazing.
so the two of us create the content, and I give it to her, and she is amazing and does all of her magic with it. And so we do. It's been a lot of just this, like you said a few minutes ago, Olivia. This, like, getting people to learn about you and to know
Yeah,
about you, and to not just know but to like you, because that's a hard thing to do, and staying in a very authentic place
yeah,
doing that, because that's what I'm all about. It's all about authenticity. I always tell people in therapy that there's nothing magic about therapy. It's really in the relationship that you allow yourself to have with your therapist. It has to be based on trust. And it is a very interesting boundary filled relationship, but it goes both ways. And so taking that into the digital world has been really interesting, sharing little bits about my life, my husband, my kids, my family life, to show not just kind of who I am, not just those little social media moments, but I've been through it. I've been through so much of what I preach, if you will. And so sharing that has been interesting. And we're now at the point where we are delving into some more of the paid ads. That's been
Amazing.
something that we've been dabbling in a little bit, but this coming year we're going to really step into that more as so many more of the systems, those logistical systems, are now in place. That can hold it, that foundation. In order to build on a foundation, it's got to be solid. And that's what we've been really working on this past year. And now we're ready to kind of step more into all right, it's go time, which is scary. It's very scary.
Yeah. I can imagine, and we'll touch on your plans for the future in a sec. But I'm amazing. So you've got like, as you say, like the building blocks in place, and we're just ready to kind of grow on top of that.
Yeah.
Put those funnels in that we were talking about earlier and see what happens. But awesome stuff. And it is authenticity is the key to it. You hit the nail on the head, and it is just that having that courage to be a little bit more open, people, because therapy, it is all about trust, and you have to have that relationship with you to be able to open up, like with Rosanne as well as the patient obviously opening up the other way around. So it's having that for yourself as well. Do you find that you have to pick and choose with who you work with? Like it has to be a good fit on your end of things, not just the client as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I'm in my therapist role, don't get me wrong, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. So in my role as a therapist in my private practice, yes, I always tell people, I mean, from the very first phone call to even the first face to face, like we got to know that we fit, that we connect, because so much of the work that I do with people is based on that. And so if they don't like me, yeah, it's going to be really, really hard to do the work. In the more of the digital space, this I can't really be because of the confines of my license. I'm just licensed in the state of California. I can't really bill myself as a therapist. Um,
Gotcha.
I do therapists diagnose and they treat mental health issues. And so I can't do that online. And so if somebody comes to me as a coaching client through my website or through any of the other ways to find me online, if they're not in California and they are obviously suffering from some sort of mental health issue, I immediately refer them. You've got to
Amazing.
go find a therapist
Yeah.
first. I can help with the transitioning, the life coaching, if you will.
Hmm.
So I have to be very careful in both areas.
Yeah.
That line.
As you say, it is a tightrope, and it's just what side do we lean towards first. But I do want to touch on your plans for the future. So when it comes to like the next 6 to 12 months, and you think about maybe growing the practice, moving the online space, you've got your best then therapist as well online. So when you think about kind of scaling the business and those next steps, what does that look like to you? Like, what is the vision you see in your mind for the future?
Well, the vision for me is it's always been is is to touch as many people as I possibly can. This the work that I'm putting out into the digital space, the courses that I've created are all very operationalized methods that I have seen over and over and over and over and over again work in my
Mm,
private practice with people to help them find success in any area of their life. Whether it's individually within their family, or if it is finding their partner, right? It all comes back to this this connection to yourself. So my goal is to teach as many people as possible to do that. And obviously in the space of the digital world, I can get to as many people as possible. It doesn't even matter, right? There's no limit on that. But in doing that, over the next 6 to 12 months, what I really want to do is I have two main courses, the two beginning courses, all ready to go. People can access those. One is getting through a breakup. The next one is actually taking all of that you've learned and taking it into the dating realm. And how do you find love, if you will, without losing yourself? I've got 3 more in the pipeline right after. So I'd like to have those completely done and ready to go. All the outlines, everything's all ready. And like I said, all the structures all ready. So I'd like to have those created. And the other piece, continue with the coaching, the one-on-one coaching, because I love that. And but there's another piece that I'm starting, and that was kind of part of getting in this space with you too. Is I have a podcast that's going to be starting probably at the end of this month, where it's actually a best friend of mine in real life. She and I are going to be talking about all of this stuff and how it plays out in real life.
Amazing.
And so yeah, so those are the things that's going to be working on, and also to be really refined in the marketing piece. So that's going to continue to be growing, because it's hard. It's just constant.
Mm.
You
You
got
have to really stay on top of it. It's all forever changing. And it's the key piece because it is that front thing where, where everyone gets to know and see and just connect with you. So it's a very important piece to work on all the time. But it sounds like you've got a lot going on, which is really cool. And just really, as you say, helping as many people as possible in the cars. Where are you probably finding the biggest challenge for yourself, though? It seems like you take everything in your stride at the moment, which is really nice.
yeah, that's a work in progress, Olivia. I in the past, like I have so many things that are going on. I never like to say I'm busy though, because I really feel like that really blocks energy. I want to say yes to as many things that are as possible that I can do, but time, obviously. Time and energy is a big one. And I've learned being a therapist for so long that if I'm burnt out, I'm not helping anyone. And so I have to be very mindful of that. And that really is the work that I teach people how to do as well. So that's really, I think, is going to be my biggest piece, is how time management.
Yeah.
And just dealing with the same thing that you all deal with, that we all deal with, things like anxiety and burnout and imposter syndrome, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
And to really, I'm a bit of a like to take care of everything myself. Giving it to other people to do, that's an ongoing thing that I'm going to really have to work on, because I can't, right? I can't do everything.
You can't. And you do end up with just a glorified job at the end of the day, and you need to be working on your zone of brilliance, So as things grow, looking to add to the team will be a great aspect for you. And you've already taken the hardest step, which is adding the first person. So once you've done
Yes,
it once, it's
absolutely.
just finding the
Yeah,
next right one.
yeah, my social media manager, and then I also have a dear friend of mine. She's actually my cousin, and she does all my tech. She does all my
Amazing.
websites. She does all my like lead magnet stuff and connecting all that stuff. I don't know how she does it, but God bless her.
I
Like
love it.
expanding
Awesome.
expanding the team is going to be very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love it. And a big key to your success as well moving forward. But I have one final question to ask you before we log out. So, Rosanne, if you could go back in time and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know back then, what would you say to yourself?
um Gosh, Olivia, that's a deep one, my dear. um that I'm the most important, that you're the most important person in all relationships, in whatever you do. And if you're not okay, then nobody else is going to be okay. And so always come back to that, whether you are in a relationship, whether you are building a business, whatever the case may be, you've got to put you first. You have to.
You have to make sure your cup's full before helping others.
Exactly. Exactly.
Amazing. And Rosanne, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
You can check out all my stuff on my website, which is just RosanneHiller. .com, and it's Rosanne without an E in the middle. The E's at the end. That's a very different way to spell Rosanne. And then on Instagram, I am your BFF therapist, as well as on TikTok, Facebook, I am your best friend's therapist. So, yeah.
Amazing. Nice and easy.
Email me through any of those or through the website. I answer everything. DM me. I'd love to talk with you.
Amazing stuff. Thank you again for joining us, Rosanne. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and check out Rosanne and all the amazing stuff she's doing. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one. Rosanne.